Welcome to the monthly update with Murdock, Manwaring and Cardon at eXp Realty. We are going over the real estate market stats in Southeast Idaho for the month of August 2024. We got some great stuff to cover. The market is shifting and changing, so we're grateful that you're tuning in. Watch to the end. And if you want to get all of this information into your email each month, go to mmcidaho.com and just click at the top, get the newsletter, and we'll be sending you emails with market stats once a month. All right, let's do it.
Let's roll. So I'm covering Bonneville County. You want to get to that first slide there, Jessica? Here we go. 22.7% down on the number of homes sold in the month of August from 23. So we're seeing less homes change hands, which is a pressure on the market, right? There's less people buying and selling. And we've had an inventory problem. Last year in August, we had 193, but this year we went up to 225. So as we see some relief on some additional options for buyers, we're seeing more come on the market. And when that happens, we go straight down to days on market. If there's more inventory now and buyers aren't quite coming out to the inventory or not being eaten up as quickly, so to speak, they'll stay longer on the market. So days on the market increased from last year to this year in that month of August. Prices have stayed pretty stable. We're not seeing the 20, 30, over 30%, year over year that we saw a few years ago. So we are up. So I'd say it's just staying stable from last year. So with all the other things coming with inventory, supply, and affordability, at least prices are maintaining. We're not seeing a big increase or decrease. So good news on interest rate front. We have Brandon on here with us as well. Oh, he may have just stepped out, but Brandon with Patriot Mortgage told us that we could see rates drop even further, but from last year we're down to around 6.5 average from 7. So as the rate decreases, we're going to be paying less interest on loans, and so that takes our monthly payments down, so we can all afford even an entry-level house at this point where our price point is. So,
well, Jeremy, I think all of these factors
all-time low. Well, yeah. 1.5 years low. They haven't been this low in 1.5 years. So,
yeah.
I think the factors are poised that if we're looking at cycles of real estate, there's the peak and the valley. I think that, mark my words, write this down somewhere, I think we're at a peak. Or we're at where it's going to be a change. So if you're like, oh, I missed my opportunity, I think this is it, because we have more houses coming on the market, buyers, and so it is the time to get your house ready and get it on the market, because I think there's going to be a change, and I think those prices are going to change. Rates are staying low. Buyers are going to flood back in. Don't miss that chance. Get your house on the market now. You're going to be happy you did.
Yeah. And if you're still financing a piece of the new house, at least the rate, if you're locked into a 3 or 4%, at least it's a little more comparable and not quite as a big triple-digit jump or triple.
So go back one slide, Jessica. Look at the home prices and look at the interest rate. That's the sweet spot. You're going to get a little bit more for your house, but when you buy, interest rates are down. So right now is that sweet spot when you don't have to pay. The high prices haven't gone up, but you can get a lower interest rate. They've gone up a bit, so you can make some money. I think it's
so homes are on sale right now is what you're saying, right, Nicole?
Yep, finally. That's good.
Yep.
So absorption rate, nothing new hits the market. Everything that's currently available will be gone in 2.8 months, a little up from last year. Could see that increase as inventory does increase. Here are some price point that we like to point out, that it depends on what price point you're at, on how many, how the overall averages can affect you, because when you get over $500,000 in Bonneville County, you can see things change quickly. And absorption rate clear on the right, the average over there is double what it is under 500,000. not as many buyers over 500 as there are under 500,000. So,
So Jeremy, on that
yeah.
last slide, go back one slide, would you? What is the average price right now?
Jessica's controlling going
Right
to Bingham
there.
County. She needs
August
to
of
go up.
2024, average price
That's Bingham.
Hold on.
$433,515.
Sorry, Nicole. Let's get to accurate. There you go. What do you want to point out? 426 average price.
426, 123. So then you go to the next chart and look at the average price. Remember, it's 426. So go across to that line between 400 and 450. There's 35 of those houses available. That's one of the lowest numbers between 300 and 500. It's right there, that average house. There's only 35 of them. 2 months on the market.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. Anybody else have any input on Bonneville County right now before we move to Chad to take over?
Just pretty much
couple.
under 700,000. It's still a decent seller's market. I think that's worth at 99.1% list price to sell price. So it's a strong market overall.
Yeah.
And
Let's
if
get
rates
into the next
drop,
counties.
we're gonna see this change. That should, when the rates drop, that average price shifts up because they can afford more, right? But prices go up at the same time, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so Bingham County, I'll chat about Bingham County. So sales are down from 45 to 39. We're talking August 2023 as opposed to last month, August 2024. So a few less sales, 6 less sales than we had before. Home prices we saw an increase, and that is from 384,000 to 433,000. So prices, we saw a little increase there. Just like in Bonneville County, a lot of new listings up 26.8%. Again, take this all into perspective, right? Because last month we were talking about how new listings were lower, quite a bit lower, but it kind of evens out. When we see some in 3 months over time, we're probably seeing a change, but we saw a rebound from our new listings being low to now high in Bonneville and Bingham County. So we're up 26.8%. So we get some new listings on the market. Rates, of course, are the same. We love to see that. Finally, I think we're at a point where inflation is below 3% and the feds are having to drop rates. So days on market are up higher. We'll see if that changes. And absorption rates up higher. Things have been moving slower. We'll see if rates change that as well. I think it will have an impact, but we have, and I think that's a reflection of the inflation being higher. It's been, and the rates being higher, I mean, and that absorption rate's been creeping up because people are like, man, I just can't buy. It's too expensive. And I think we're going to probably see some pressure release on that. So,
Chad, what I think is super interesting that we'll get, I think everyone has something to complain about in every market. Look at the average home price, still up 12%, right? And in Bonneville County, still up. So when rates drop and there's more competition, it will take those prices up again. Don't get caught in what people got caught in 21. Oh, I don't want to pay these prices, and they missed the rates. Yeah. Don't get caught in that. The rate is the key, but just know prices are going to go up when there's more buyers competing.
Yep. Yeah, rates do control things. On the next slide, as far as things that I'll point out on that, I think absorption rate is probably what's jumping out to me the most. And again, that's kind of a word we throw around a lot. It really is our gauge to determine if it's a seller's or a buyer's market. And I think on this one, over the last 6 months, it's pretty safe to say that in Bingham County, if you're under $500,000, it is a seller's market. You got to be more aggressive on, on making offers. Over 500,000, it's a buyer's market. There's a little more room for you to be able to, do what you need to do. There's a lot more inventory. There's a lot more competition. So you can get away with being a little bit more aggressive as a buyer. But under 500,000, probably not as much. So that's probably what stood out to me the most. And if anybody else has anything else on here they want to share.
I think it's really interesting to look in that one realm of 350 to 400. You know, that's an interesting realm. There's 4.5 months of inventory there. So that's an interesting stat that we only have 9 pendings and there's 17 on the market. That'll be interesting to see. 80 days on market, which is unusual in that under 400 price range. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks. Go ahead, Jess.
Let's talk about Jefferson County. So up as we move north from Idaho Falls to Jefferson County, this we see Jefferson a little different. You'll get a little bit, there's a lot of new construction and a lot bigger lots as we get to Jefferson County, but they are down again 13% on actual home sales in August. So they're down on home sales, and I almost go to flat. It says 2.5% up, but that's one house difference in Jefferson County. So I'm giving it the flat range on new listings. So that will be interesting to see. We haven't had a flood like we've seen in Bingham and Bonneville. So Jefferson hasn't had that entry level yet. We'll see what happens these next couple months. Home prices, but what is interesting, home prices in August of 2024, 39% up. Now, let me just say that means probably had some pretty big sales. There was only a total of 32 homes sold. So you put a couple big ranches or properties in there, that's going to take that average price up and really jack it up.
Not a good number there to.
No. I would not say that is your situation, but that's probably what happened there. But we are up into moving to a lot more to a buyer's market in our absorption rate. That gets us to 4 months of inventory. And as soon as we start to hit that 5, that's a real balanced market. And it's inching us right up into a buyer's market in Bonneville County and Jefferson County. I'll run through all of the counties. Jefferson County here this next month. So let's kind of take a look at what the overall looks like. So if you take a look down at the current market and you look down below, this is what I think is really interesting about Jefferson County is it's not the same absorption rate. It doesn't get up into the 10s, the 8s and 9s and 10s as you get down to those hires. You're still at 4 and 5. I mean, above 1 million, there's only one, how many are on the market? 5 on the market. So it might be a little heavier there, but it's not as heavy in the jump above 500,000. So I thought that was interesting about the total absorption rate and whether it's buyer's market or seller's market broken out by the prices. I think we're seeing a really heavy below 500,000, still really good. But that's, still always the price point for our Southeast Idaho area. Not much going on over there below 250,000 in Jefferson County. Yeah.
So look at these stats, and where do we find those big old things that skewed the average?
Yeah.
How many we've got? 900 to 1 million.
Yeah.
Look right here. In the last 6 months, there have been 6 over 1 million closed in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Well, 7
that pulls up the average.
Yeah, 7.
With that one over 1.25.
Yep.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So they're pulling the averages even for 6 months to 498, where the last year, in August was 401. And so don't count on 10 to 40% increase year over year. We're just seeing some higher end homes try to get in there, right, with the market and stuff.
Yeah. So we actually sold that most expensive house there. It was one of our listings in Jefferson County, and so that really does pull that up. And it was, it was one of our high end builders sold their house, and so that really does, when you pull and it says 1.2, but when you're at 2 million, that pulls that average up real good. So yep. So let's take a quick look at Madison County, which is up to Rexburg, where BYU Idaho is. They are actually down almost 50% in closed home sales. That is interesting. That's a big dip from last year. I think our college towns where there's a lack of housing, those rates really affect them. Those really affect people. So I'm hoping this will pick up for Rexburg with our rates softening just a little bit. They're down on the new listings coming on the market, and they're down on home price. So that's super interesting. It's down on home prices. This is our first county that it has a decrease in home prices over last year. Now, it could be because last year there was a big home or something that sold and that took that average price up. But that is an interesting stat for Madison County, and it leads us to the absorption rate. So Madison County has the highest absorption right now in Southeast Idaho. They're at almost 5.5 months of inventory. They're in a solid, balanced market in Madison County. So poised right on the cusp to a buyer's market. So that's interesting about Madison County as we take a look. I didn't notice anything that was too outstanding on the stats. It looks pretty interesting unless someone else sees something that they think really stands out for them.
Just not a lot of sales, so it's hard to really get solid data, right? It's a little bit slower, less sales. So
Yep.
The last 6 months gives you a little better idea, but it's still, you know, the average price under 500 is 320, and then over 500 is 2,582,000. So pushing towards the lower side, you know, even the 500 to $1 million is still 582 average. So it kind of puts overall that average into the lower time frame. Wherein last year, if we try to compare it, if you did, like you said, Jess, had some higher end stuff, it probably reflected in that. So overall, how we feeling? Corey, what's your take on stuff?
Me, it looks like there are some good things happening for buyers, especially. I mean, you know, it's going to kind of be a tight, maybe transition. You know, those who are ready to buy should probably start thinking about it now before those prices go up too fast. I mean, that's the danger. It's kind of like if you hit it just right, you know, you could really be in good if you're a buyer, especially.
Good
I would
advice.
say this is the most optimistic we could probably feel in the last almost 2.5 years.
That's right.
Like we finally are seeing to where things are changing, and you know, it's finally happening way later than everyone predicted, but everybody predicts, nothing happens. We're finally seeing it happen. So
yeah,
Even
it
the
is right.
playing
Take
field.
Corey's advice. Right now is when you will thank Corey for that advice.
Corey Whittier, you will thank him.
I'm here
Reach
all
out to
day.
Corey and say thank you,
all
Corey, so
day,
much.
all day. Anybody else before we wrap her up? Awesome.
Okay,
Well,
final
thanks for
advice. Give us a
joining.
call. Let us know. We'd love to help you buy or sell here in Southeast Idaho. And it's a great time. Let's make a plan. This is Murdock Manwaring Company, Murdock Manwaring Cardon at eXp Realty. Talk to you soon.